Good morning or afternoon or whatever it may be, biology students. Hope you're doing well. If you're watching this, you are on bridge or distance learning, at least for a little while. This is an activity that we are going to do in class, and we are starting a new unit. It's kind of a continuation of the previous unit of evolution. That first part of evolution did a really good job of looking at what it is, how it occurs, how we get new species, looking at kind of the mechanisms of how populations change over time, right, and adapt, and looking at kind of genetic frequency, allele frequencies, looking at how those genetics move through a population, right? And so ultimately how we end up changing. Did a really good job of that. This one is kind of looking at a bigger scale though, all right? So we call it a separate unit because there's a very different way to look at time, all right? And so we're gonna have to look at time in a very large way and much larger than you can imagine, probably. So typically, if you were talking about time, you talk about, minutes and hours, maybe days, right? You might talk about time and how old you are, right? And ultimately in a lifetime, but that's essentially it. Sometimes in history, you talk back, a couple hundred years ago, but still, this is not a really good version of time when we're talking about evolution on Earth and life history events on Earth, things that are really, really important to evolution and how we've ended up here. So that's what this unit does. We're looking at deep time, what's called deep time. And we're going to talk about time on the scale of hundreds of thousands of years, not years, not dozens of years or human lifetime. But we're going to talk about tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. We'll talk about millions of years and also billions of years. And I've already done this with my class. They've already struggled with those numbers, million, right? And so I won't give it away, but counting to a million is much harder than you think. In fact, if you were to stay up 24/7, how long do you think it would take you to count to a million? You can think for a second. It would take you, if you counted one number per second, it would take you 11 days. Billion, much, much longer, right? I hate to give it away, but if you counted nonstop, 24/7, no sleep, no pee breaks, no eat breaks, it would take you 33 years to count to 1 billion. So what we're doing in this activity that you have here, that you have a PDF or a Google Doc of, it's an activity to get you to think about time a little bit differently. And so what we're going to do on the very last page, I have compiled 26 big events, all right? These might be geological events. These might be oldest known rocks here on Earth. This might be when we start seeing birds or amphibians or, things like dinosaurs, and in our own species as well, all right? As including a couple of others, Neanderthals and stuff like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to convert those numbers into yards. All right, so we're going to take a time and convert it into a distance. And why we're doing that is, well, so whether you understand what football is, we have one outside. I can see it literally right now. This gives you kind of a different perspective of time, okay? So this is a timeline that you're going to fill out. And you can do this many different ways. You can take pictures of it. You can print it out. You can edit it with a PDF editor. You can submit it. You can email it. Well, however you want to do that. Those 26 events on the back are going to end up on here. Okay, notice on one side it says today, right over here. Whoops, right over here it says today. All right, and then this is formation of Earth. So one of the first things you're going to want to do is under formation of Earth, that is 4.6. It's really 4.54, but for this, we're going to round it up to 4.6 to make it a little easier. 4.6 billion years. And if you're not sure, or if you're not sure what I'm saying, just look at the first step on this activity. Football field's 100 yards. Earth is 4.6 billion, or 4,600,000,000 years. So if you divide that by 100, that means each yard on a football field would represent 46 million years. So far, hopefully so good. If not, go back and listen to it, okay? So if you took the age of the Earth, which is roughly 4.6 billion years, all right, billion have 9 zeros, right? Divide that by 100 yards, each yard on a football field would equal about 46 million, right? It's a lot of time in a small distance. So what you're going to do, and I'm going to do a couple of examples with you. What you're going to do is you're going to take these events on the very back page here, these 26 events, and you're going to convert them into yards. And once you have that, then it's easy for you to put those events on this timeline, okay? If something is 10 yards from now, right, here's today, over here. Oh, wait, here's today, over here. Then you just count back 10 yards and put that event here. If something is 12 yards, you count about 12, put it here. 15, 20, 25, etc. Okay? So let's do a couple conversions for you real quick. The key is to make sure if it's in billions of years, that's 9 zeros. If it's in millions of years, it's 6 zeros. And so let's start with number 1. Number 1 is our oldest known rocks, right? And that is 4 billion. Actually, I'll do this on a paper. Might turn out a little better for you. All right. So 4 billion is 4 with 9 zeros. Okay. It looks like that. And again, you can pause this as we go along here. And then to convert that to yards, remember each yard is 46 million. We're going to divide that by 46 million. Okay. And in my calculator, I already know the answer, but I'm just going to show you. I'm going to take 4 billion. All right. And I'm going to divide it by 26 million. You can also do this on Google if you need to, if you don't have a good calculator. All right. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Divide by 46 million. And that is going to be, you may not see it there. There you go. Almost 87 yards. In fact, I told my students just to put 87. It's 86.956. I just had them put 87 yards. So what that means is, number 1 is the oldest known rocks on my timeline from today. I'm going to go back 87 yards. Well, it's kind of upside down. I'm going to go from today. I'm going to go back 87 yards and mark oldest known rocks. All right. So this kind of shows you from formation of Earth, you know, we're fairly close to the oldest known rocks here on Earth. Why aren't there little older rocks? You know, if Earth is 4.54, why don't we have rocks that are 4.54? 2 things. 1, we may, and we haven't found those yet. But 2, because of the rock cycle and geology and geological cycle and how we, how rocks are continually turned over. Most rocks aren't that old, aren't near that old. But we do have some that are almost as old as Earth. Let's do another event. I'll pick one more recent, and I'll do this in the millions. When you get to millions, it's a little bit easier to convert. So let's look at dinosaur, number 15. Dinosaurs dominate the land. All right, and I've got that at 230 million years, right? So 230 with, remember, 6 zeros for million. I'm going to divide that by 46 million. All right, so it's going to set up like this. This is the one for dinosaurs dominating. All right, so 230 million years ago, where you're sitting now, there were lots of dinosaurs. All right, and we're going to divide that by 46 million, which is each yard of a football field. So we'll be able to cancel out those. So when I take 230 million and divide it by 46 million, I get, oh, this is cool. I get 5 yards. I get 5, exactly 5. Now this is where I think it gets really cool, all right? Because that means on our football field, you see today over here, all right? Actually, I'll turn this upside down again. You may think it should be close to this end, but look, it's only 5 yards away compared to formation of the Earth, compared to, you know, things like you'll put on here, like oldest rocks, oldest bacterial cells, stuff like that. When dinosaurs dominated the land was only 5 yards ago compared to today. That's crazy. That's not very long. Okay, so you're going to convert those into yards. You're going to put them on your timeline. Again, you can edit a PDF. You can print it out, write it on there, whatever is best for you. And then the last part of this are some questions on here, 9 questions. Now, this is the easiest part because any question that has to do with things that we did in the class, you can skip. All right, so I'm going to go through these now. You can skip 1 and 2. Those both had to do with things we did in class. You're going to do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you don't have to worry about 9. So you can skip 1, 2, and 9. All right, so those 6 questions there you are responsible for, as well as your timeline. Okay, so again, you can rewatch the video if you get confused. You can go through the steps. I highlighted those, underlined those. And of course, if you need help, feel free to contact me for that. Okay, have a wonderful day, and let me know where you need help.